obviously people could have either rejected me entirely and said, you suck and don't do it again, or what we got, which is, okay, you're really doing this. All right, pretty good.
This movie is so much fun, and I think one of the things people really loved about the first one was being completely wowed by, seeing you as basically the ultimate warrior. Since that movie obviously ended with the line,
"Does this house have a
basement?"
Did you always have in the back of your mind, doing that first one and all the prep, that you would love for this to be a franchise?
Well, that was more something that was the studio and the writers, and they wanted to do that. I didn't have the hubris to imagine that it could be a franchise. I couldn't believe we got to make the first one at all. It all felt like going out on a limb. Universal was so great to support me in that, as was everybody, 8711, 87 North. What I liked about the basement line at the end of Nobody Won by Becca, played by Connie Nielsen, is it suggests that the wife, she fully knows what her husband does, and it makes you ask, who is she? And I wanted her to be important in the second film. So I like what it indicated about the wife. And then you see in Nobody 2 that Becca is more involved in the actual action.
Had you and Connie discussed maybe?
Yes. The end of shooting Nobody Won, I said to her, would you be willing to fight in the second film? And she said, shit, yeah.
Obviously, I know you spent a little time getting ready for that first one.
Yeah.
Was it gratifying to see people really embrace you as an action star?
Yeah, and I felt that in the first one of the things I did, maybe you could say right, was I didn't play it off as comic. Mm-hmm. I went full throttle, angry, rageful, and bloody. Yeah. And so obviously people could have either rejected me entirely and said, you suck and don't do it again, or what we got, which is, okay, you're really doing this. All right, pretty good. I did train hard, and I kept up the training between the films. I didn't stop, even though, of course, we had no idea how well Nobody Won would do.
I told you. I'm on fucking vacation!
Obviously, you're very credible as an action star, but at the same time, I think people love this because there's such a universal quality to Hutch. In this one, for example, obviously, you're going on vacation. Was there ever a vacation where, maybe despite the best planning?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, things didn't go right?
No, listen, man. When I was a kid, we went on 2 vacations. One was to the Wisconsin Dells, which is essentially Plummerville, especially when I did it 50 years ago. It's a much bigger town now, and it's more impressive. But also, I took my kids on vacation, and if you're a parent and you take your kids on vacation, one of the things you can't help but find is that it's as frustrating and challenging. It's more relaxing to stay home.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's this movie raises it. Is that something you've thought about, where something that was magical when you're a child, it can be very different?
Not as magical.
Yeah.
Luckily, when I brought my kids to the Dells, and I did, they were still young. They were 6 and 8. They were very impressed by it. But in this case, Hutch brings his teenage kids to the place that he liked when he was 8, which they're not impressed by.
It creates some great stunts. Did you have a favorite weapon?
Oh, well, now look, I can't take credit for what happens in the arcade fight, which is so much fun. I did not invent that fight. That was Greg Rementer. I just love that we used all these things in the inside arcades to beat the hell out of some bad guys.
Is preparing for this a little bit like doing live comedy? And by that I mean Adam Sandler, for example, has said SNL took him months to get comfortable. Having done this once before, is it easier the second time?
Much easier, yeah. I felt more comfortable doing the action on Nobody 2. I understood the basic rules of screen fighting, and I understood the language of it. I understood how the camera interacts. I learned so much on Nobody Won, and we put it to use in Nobody 2.
Obviously, you partially got one of your starts through SNL, and then that leads to Conan, and that leads to Mr. Show. And given the state of late night right now, are you worried about that talent pipeline that gave people like you or Conan or Sandler opportunities?
Well, I am not that worried. With the internet and with YouTube and with all the streamers, there's more comedy than there ever was, and there's more platforms and opportunities than there ever was. They tend to pay less, but they pay something, and there's more of them. So that's good. I think the biggest challenge is you could make a very good show now, and almost nobody sees it because there's just too much to sample. You know, that the industry kind of does this journeying of expanding and contracting, expanding and contracting. So possibly we're going to contract a little bit. But I love how many platforms there are and how much variety we can see.
Do you think late night, that format can continue in
Yes,
streaming?
some version of late night will continue. It's terrible what's happened here with Colbert, but also I feel that I understand it. There are a lot of late night shows that are very similar to each other. So, and I can see how much is now online, and a lot of my viewing is online. So I understand how it's going through these changes. I'm okay with it. There's going to be lots of opportunity for us.
I did bring it up. I'm curious, what was it like seeing a lot of these folks again, like Conan and Adam at SNL 50 this year?
Oh, this was greatest. That SNL 50th, that was so well done. Lorne Michaels really outdid himself, and just seeing all my old friends, Kevin Nealon and Dana Carvey and Spade and some of the writers and some of the, everybody who worked on at Saturday Night Live was invited to those events. So I got to see people who were in makeup and people who were in the front office and assistants. Those people, I haven't seen those people in 35 years, And so it was really great.
You were told to leave.
So what are you still doing in town, old man?
I'm here with my family, making memories.
He's making memories, huh?
There's no need for this. This is all a big misunderstanding.